Hello, everybody. Today I'll be discussing Title IX. I was first introduced to Title IX when I was an undergrad and I worked in the Office of Social Equity and Diversity. I used to hear Title IX a lot, but I never really knew what it was. I just knew that it had something to do with discrimination. But that's exactly what it is. It's a law that states institutions receiving federal funding cannot discriminate in areas of recruitment, admissions, and counseling, financial assistance, athletics, sex-based harassment, treatment of pregnant and pregnant students, discipline, single-sex education, and employment. Title IX comes from the Education Amendments of 1972 and is enforced by the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights. And it was signed into law by President Richard Nixon on June 23, 1972. This law covers state and local education entities such as state school districts, post secondary institutions like colleges, charter schools, for profit schools, libraries, and museums. The Office for Civil Rights enforces the law, ensuring every institution follows the law precisely and investigates any claims of discrimination. I think it's also cool that they are really proactive and that they ensure educational institutions know what the law is, what Title IX is, and they provide them with resources, information, trainings on what Title IX is and how it should be applied at the school, and if they need any technical assistance and guidebooks to show them how they can stay in compliance and how they can report the issues of discriminations and issues of folks wanting to break the law, the Title IX law. Now, the new Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, is proposing new changes to the law in the area of sexual harassment. In short, the new changes would, one, limit the school liability. The new changes would deem schools not responsible for harassment that happens off campus when we're talking about colleges. Harassment that happens in housing areas and bars, happens outside of activities or programs affiliated with the school. So anything that does not have to do with anything with the school, they would not be responsible for if it doesn't happen on campus in one of the facilities during one of the programs. I gather that this same thing would apply to schools, grade schools as well. Anything that happens outside of the school building, um, in the library or in the playground would not affect the school at all. Another change would narrow the definition and the scope of sexual harassment. The previous guidelines defined sexual harassment as any unwelcome conduct of sexual nature, but now could be defined as unwelcome conduct on the basis of sex that is so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it denies a person access to the school's education program or activity. The third change would disrupt the objective truth finding process by making reporting abuse strenuous and by imposing mediation and cross examination between the abused and a representative from the accused. This could make the process intimidating and unsuccessful. To have to be a person, a victim of sexual assault or sexual misconduct, and sit in a room across from someone who represents the accuser could be really intimidating and want people and cause people not to want to come forward about it. The strength of Title IX, as it is written now, protects people from discrimination and sexual harassment. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It holds individuals, institutions, local and state entities accountable for equality and essentially gives access to opportunities to those who were locked out of it originally. The weakness of it is that it only covers federally funded institutions. There is nothing inherently weak about Title IX, I would say, but one could argue that it should cover institutions that do not receive federal funds, entities that receive local government funds, and private. But that's a conversation of a different time. Title IX essentially provides access to opportunity for all in the educational realm. In a country where segregation was legal, we can now go to school where we want, we can teach where we want, participate in any activity we want without sex, race, our age being a determining factor, whether we can or cannot. In DC public schools, they have a notice of non discrimination, and it states that they do not discriminate on the basis of actual perceived race, of color, religion, national origin, sex, age, marital status, personal appearance, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, family status, family responsibilities, matriculation, disability, source of income, and the list goes on. There's so much there. And this is pretty extensive because it covers so many people. Um, but yeah, Title IX makes the classroom, makes the school, makes school systems across the nation more diverse, open and affirming of all people. It opens up opportunities for intersectionality and cross cultural experiences that enrich learning and social development for students, I believe, from pre K all the way up to 12. To close, I personally do not agree with the new proposed changes to Title IX and stand behind the law the way it is. It is in our best interest to protect our children and protect adults and educational institutions and folks in other federally funded spaces. We all deserve opportunities and to do things. We all deserve to feel safe while attending schools or while working in schools. So I think we should keep the law the way it is.